Is the first fight versus Momentai or Momentai. This is versus a lower level player. As you can see, the rank of this guild at the point of this war was 15, while we were standing at rank 8. But I went after this one for content. Second one was just because I wanted to check a Celine defense.
Let's advance together.
Yeah, for this first fight, even if the player had been level 60 Ciarman, wouldn't really have changed the outcome, I suppose. Assuming I didn't check the Mola, but assuming the Armin was Mola'd in terms of the damage mitigation, the Charles was supposed to stun there, so there'd be kind of like a 15% chance for him to not counter. But I think he's on a counter set based on his speed. Could have countered me to death, which would have been really bad, but I did have an anti-crit buff, so I kind of ran with this, just kind of like Killiami 5 had some level 50s. I'm like, okay, I'll run the RNG just to check it out. Ran no damage mitigation except the anti-crit buff, but we had the blind and the attack down as well. Spectenny into ML Ken, very easy. So if a player is watching this video for this post-match commentary, is like kind of looking for tips and whatever, if you run ML Ken, you have to make sure that Spectenny will not be a threat in the defense. Like you have to find a way to kill the Spectenny. Spectenny is going to be a very good choice for offensive fights. So there's a couple of heroes that you have to like build defenses for, and one of them will be Spectenny. The second fight, second round, yeah. So like, yeah, because my Lidica at this point, if you guys are watching me on Guild War videos, at this point she's at 300 speed, so there's very little. I must say not impossible, especially top Guild Wars. There are gonna be very fast heroes. This one, I was looking at if I should just kill off the Celine. I have no problems here because it just brings someone that doesn't, bring a team does not have some kind of, non-attack skill, and i.e. this team will 100% work. I was ready to lose my Assassin Sid and my Fire Lidica just for this. Was running on a Bastion, so Lilius's artifact for that extra thick barrier on that Celine. At the point of this recording, Celine is pretty new. Depends on when I upload this, it might not be relevant anymore, but people are still asking because she's pretty new. The banner's still alive, like the banner just started pretty much. Asking like, should I build her super fast or bruiser or whatever, but I think she just can't be somewhere in the middle. You have to either go really fast, high damage, or really bruisery but also high damage. Otherwise you get taken apart, I think. Alright, that's that one. The second fight versus Awomi. This one, while I was going in, one of my guildmates was saying that top team looks risky. Even the bottom one technically is a bit risky. But I was playing out the turn orders in my head, and I'm like, no, it should be fine. It should be fine. Now, sometimes when I take these risks, there are potential pitfalls in terms of like I int, but you guys like watching that anyway, so who cares? But the top one, the idea is that I have Dignus Orb on Vivian, so she has her own barrier. If I need to, I would use her S1, which is actually very high damage, especially if she has greater attack buff. On the ML Ken, if I need that extra nuke. But she was really there for the immunity in case that Dizzy was there to lock my heroes down, so i.e. Violet and ML Chloe, and of course Vivian herself. And then my Violet hits pretty hard, so I wasn't really worried about him being a nuke damage. And and I know I can kill off an ML Ken. Doesn't matter how much defense and HP he has. Okay, I'll take that back. That's why I ran the Maid Chloe. The Maid Chloe was there not as a light bait, more so as the revive buffer. That's what I was going for. I kind of assumed that Dizzy's not on a violin. It would be an Abyssal Crown. Just try to crown you to death or something like that. I'm not sure. And then the second team is the concept is that no matter what, I'll be faster than DJ Basar. if I could push him back. It depended on the speed tuning on the entire team. Did I get all the turns before DJ Bazaar gets a CR boost off? And I would, you know, take out the targets or force Kayron into his immortal, depending on the situation. So Kayron, bringing Spectennia into Kayron is okay. Bringing into this entire team is okay. She's not going to be really targeted except the Charles cleave and the Kayron cleave. But if the Kayron is like pushed into the immortal and I'm able to outspeed him, then there's not much you can do after the immortal. The fact that the Lidica also has a blind chance as well is very helpful for this fight. Alright, and so now we go in. Yeah, so the Dizzy, I don't know the speeds. We don't do those speed things unless like at the most for a stronghold. But for outer towers or whatever, we just go in with a team that you will have a high chance of winning regardless of the speed tuning, HP and stuff like that. The saving the attack buff on Maid Chloe and the revive was very good to have. I wanted to both Vivian and Maid Chloe are 3-turn revive 3-turn attack buffers, so it really benefits someone like Violet, which he wastes 1 full turn, you know, off just getting the cooldown on the apple. But he hit my Violet there, which is pretty unlucky. I had to break the skill null here, and here was the best time to use the cleave. Even though I would crit ML Ken, it's the best time to break his skill null. I do it after. Post-match commentary, I sometimes forget my fight. But I did it after strategically because I still wanted the barrier. I was looking at the turn. And mainly because I actually wanted the revive, actually. Now that I think about it. I wanted the revive up before because I didn't know how hard that ML Ken hit. And I also had to break his skill null. Like I couldn't wait, basically. I couldn't wait till his attack buff was gone. But I needed to do it with the revive buff. So that's why I did it on that turn instead. He didn't kill me through the barrier, which is good. Yeah, this one I was looking at, I have full focus on Violet. So just kill off the MLCC because the barrier that continually comes back would be one of the major problems. Also lowers the pressure on ML Chloe because the ML can have an attack buff.
The queen is here.
I'm all ready.
For that turn I had to hit the Dizzy because we had one more turn on ML Ken before his attack buff was gone. And I was looking at it, I was judging it, I'm like, okay, I could wait out one more turn, kill off that Dizzy, otherwise Violet would have been free. Again, good for 3-turn attack buffers, because then what can happen is that then I can still use Violet's S2, gives 2 focus, so he's stronger, although not max focus, but you still have an attack buff left. I use the S2 strategically here as well, without a soul burn, because the S2 is weaker than the S1, but it still procs him to Sigur's Scythe. I was basically trying to avoid that, trying to get him to like 50% HP, and then he's dead no matter what here. This is a 4 focus, so you're lacking 1, which is the maximum amount of damage Earth Violet can do. Yeah, so I like my Violet when I can use him, so that's why I had to use him there. He's stylish. So yeah, right here I was looking at the speed. I had to calculate, okay, who's getting which turn. And his Kayron and his Charles were actually very close. I think he may have not built it that close, but he got unlucky RNG. So I wanted to push back to Charles on this one, and I didn't get the attack buff, so I didn't want to take out DJ Bazaar, even though he should have been dead by my Assassin Sid anyway. I just didn't know how he was built because he was slow. Like, was I strong enough to nuke him out on that turn? But it was better to do this instead. So stun, or can't stun, I didn't even crit there. But hit the Charles, and here I can strip it, I can remove the Immortal, and then he can't, even if he killed my Assassin Sid, which he did, even with evasion buff is a lie, especially on offense. With that there, Lidica had a lot of advantage. One, she has their own skill null, has elemental disadvantage, So for Charles, so that he might not be able to kill me. Here at this point, I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, the risk is Kayron, so I had to go for him. I got lucky, I did hit the Charles, but it didn't really matter. Elemental disadvantage here, but the Kayron would have wiped my Spectani and my Lidica. So I went with really risky teams, but I felt that this was there was a slight, like, it wasn't like insanely risky for me. I felt it's still salty that I lost my Assassin Sid to it, but whatever.
Only by the will of the goddess.
Yeah, decide not to soulburn that one because he doesn't. She doesn't really need to at this point because I could soulburn Spectani to guarantee the kill. That's basically what happened. You saw that press on the soulburn and then I didn't. Anyways, that was it for Owomi. So this is the Stronghold fight versus Jace. So the top team, I have actually run this offense team for that defense team. I don't know what that defense team was supposed to do. I think it's really just to remove C-Arm and SSB. That's all I can think of. C-Arm and SSB. But I'll explain the top team when we get to it. But I have done this team in the past. Ran on a higher level guild. And the bottom team, originally, you guys saw me do some swaps there. Originally, I was going to go with Dark Corvus, Crow, and Akates. And there's some risk to that. You could go with a Momo too. There's a bit of a risk. I mean, if the team is insanely fast turn cycling, which apparently it was. I was told that Stronghold Charles was like 220 or 210 speed. So I went with this, but started to push back and then land the unbuffable. And then he was meant to die from the opponent's Kayron, and my own Kayron was supposed to be on. Well, he's on a counter set, as you can see there on the screen. But I was debating whether I go Aliha's Knife for, you know, cutting reduction on the defense, or to go Portrait for more damage. It was kind of like iffy for me. I kind of wish I would saw like Aliha's Knife and saw how much damage it did over Portrait. I ended up going with the Portrait, but because it was a faster Charles, I assumed it would be a bit squishier. It was fast and apparently hit hard. So I was like, you know, just thinking about it, probably just Portrait is better. But you guys will see when we get there. So this is a double strip. I mean, if you bring a Kayron to this to kill Spectani, Cerise nullifies Kayron. She's quick enough usually that I mean, you remove it and then she can stun him on the next turn. And then the Alencia, I believe, is to kill SSBs and to prevent C-Armin as well. Because you could usually slip a C-Armin in between there, but your SSB most likely will be slower than the Alencia, so Alencia would lose her buff. This team is actually pretty safe. I still can't believe it that the series still landed the S3 on my Vivian, but this happened in the last Guild War that I used this team as well. But Ori is on F Maya. A very good bait on this one because, one, she can counter. There's no problem with her countering on this one. In fact, it's actually really good. She could provoke. That series was on the Guiding Light artifact. It could have no choice, but it didn't matter. Vivian is very solid hero. 3-turn immunity buff, even on a Maya, is good. Just reduces so much damage from a defense break. And then provoke again, and then just keep bashing her. The soul burn on the Vivian is really good. So the DN, the reason for DN on this one is that you got an attack buff for, depending on like what kind of turn cycling, you might get attack buff off, but it's mainly for the anti-crit. The problem is that Cerise is usually not built on damage. She can't afford the damage stats, but Alencia can. And so I had to run an Aureus. Even though my Vivian is relatively, not squish, but relatively okay for a mage. I had to run an Aureus, but the anti-crit buff was actually just for damage mitigation. This one again, yeah, push back. It was never meant to push back Kayron. They're really fast. They're really fast, actually. That MLCC was like, well, that Charles was probably like 230, actually, now that I look at it. The pushback helped a bit to offset some of that that oncoming damage. It's good to get Kayron a couple turns before mine goes into immortality. But the portrait did not kill him, and that was not on an Aureus, so that was way too weak. Although I didn't start off with an attack buff, that was still too weak. I think in retrospect I would have preferred an Aliha's knife. I think I could cut through that. Yeah, so the immortality goes here. This was not really well thought out because I forgot that I had no immunity after this fast Kayron gets many turns, and Kayron just blinds, just like RB. Could be a very, very big problem. So I was kind of like, oh crap. At that point, I'm like, oh, that's not good. He can actually blind. But again, my Kayron is on a counter, so it actually helped in this fight. So Charles died there, which is good. I was looking at this and I'm like, okay, I actually want them to go for my SSA, right? But the turn cycling on MLCC, that she would get a barrier on a Kayron. So again, I would get blind again if he landed it. So I tried to heal up Kayron, but it still didn't work. He still was the lowest HP, so he was still the target. I was lucky that this didn't blind him. I had one more turn left. The good thing is that the Kayron is fast, so at this point I'm like, okay, I might be okay. But I'd have to kill off that FCC quick. But this counter came in like real handy. Real handy right there. I would have had a problem and I would have lost, I think, because I don't think my SSA would have turn cycled enough. But I killed him on that hit, so that was very close. Again, ran a risky team just for some content so you guys can enjoy. Really, it's just, I'm just trying to show like a philosophy into attacking, but you can, in most Guild War defense, you can just out bruiser it, like just go really tanky and Dark Corvus or Crow and then just heal her, or Nef Maya, something like that. You could do it, but I'm kind of getting bored of that stuff. So when time permits, I will try to put more of these more interesting heroes. Otherwise, it's kind of no point me building these heroes. Anyways, I'm going to end this for the video recording. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.